Hey, Jeff and Harleen, and I want to give you guys your own personal garden tour, give you a few more details. And I'm thinking particularly of the vetch here. Jeff, I always think of you when I think about the vetch, and has some lovely purple flowers here growing on this vetch, which replanted itself or reseeded itself from last year. Didn't plant any vetch this year except out in the alleyway, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But this all came up on its own. It has these great purple flowers, and it's climbing our little Eiffel Tower here. And you can see it coming up in other places too as well. Let's see, let me head past this row of onions and potatoes. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, and through here. So I just let it grow. Some of this I'm gonna have to, pull out or cut back because it's messing with the potato plants. Let me show you the alleyway. This is something I'm pretty happy about. This alleyway here is a right-of-way for the water company, but it's actually our land. And this year we started doing something with it. It had just been all weeds, and I put a silage tarp on it to kill off the weeds and what was growing there. This was one section. You can see the line of demarcation here. I did this section, and then I planted vetch. So I did plant vetch out here. And then this section we had done before, the other section I just showed you. And then here we planted wildflowers and something called daikon radishes. The leafy ones here, that's a whole mess of daikon radishes. It's another cover crop. The radish is almost like a carrot, and it just drills down like a foot to a foot and a half and loosens the soil. And we did a whole bunch of wildflowers there too as well. And you can see those. Some of them are blooming already. That's the alyssum. So the wildflower mix had some alyssum in it. And then over here you can see the tarp. So I'm tarping this other section. And I'll probably have Avesio move it tomorrow. Avesio's a guy, he's about 19. He comes and works for me on Mondays. Helps us with stuff around the yard and in the field. And then that's a silage tarp there. And underneath there, yeah, it's all killed off. And then here I just have a regular plastic sheet that I got at Home Depot some time ago, and I'm using it to kill off all the weeds. It's pretty dramatic. I'm so glad I found out about this technique. It's probably something you've known about, for years, but I just found out about it through YouTube videos. So you can see what it would look like if I didn't have this tarp. This tarp's been in place for about a month, and underneath it's just dead. It's actually kind of moist, and so all the weeds that popped up have died off, and all the weed seeds that were there have sprouted and died. So it should be pretty weed free underneath that tarp. And I'll just keep moving these tarps around and killing off the parts that still need to be dealt with. This row is the onions. You probably saw that in the video yesterday. Sarah really enjoyed the onions we did last year, and we had over 300. She really enjoyed them, and we went through them pretty quick. We shared many of them, but we ate most of them ourselves. So she ordered 440 onions, and these are them. About a 50-foot row, and then just a mass of green down there. There are onions, 3 rows of onions along here. Texas Super Sweets, yellowish onion, shelf life 3 to 4 months. Texas Early Whites, our favorite, shelf month though is 3 months. Texas Legends, a yellowish onion, has a shelf life of 4 months. So that's really handy, to store them and eat them as you can. And then there's just a line of green here that's grass that's grown up. Thought about it as a weed, but the chickens really like it. So I have this little hand sickle I'll take and cut off some of the grass and feed it to the chickens. And then here we have more onions, Texas Bermudas. And this you might find interesting. This whole row is kind of like a study in the effects of soil fertility. So on this side, this is the high side I was talking about in the video. Don't be fooled by the compost, just a thin layer of compost that I added a month or so after I planted. But this is the side that I took from to create increase the height on this side, so I would have a flat area. So this is poor soil because the nutrient rich section was taken away, put over here, and then all the microbes, mycorrhizal activity, not much there, and not many nutrients. And you can see these onions are just so small. Over here, look at these guys. Same onion, planted the same day. So this difference is just in the growth. It's probably, see, February 2nd, I think, is when I planted them. These might have been a week after that. The other row I showed you, that was all February 2nd. But so they've been at it for a month and a half. And that's all the bigger these guys have gotten. But over here, yeah, they're just really big. And the potatoes, also planted on the same day, probably towards the end of February. Over here in the poor soil with poor nutrients and poor microbe activity. They're struggling. Look at this little guy. I don't know if he's even gonna make it. Got some weeds coming up here. On this side, nice and green and tall, dark green. Looking pretty good. Hey, let me show you this. I have a drip line. Got the drip tape, rather. So, right here, that's how I water everything. This drip tape. I got 2 of them going here. Yeah, there's the second one. The line's on right now, so it's fat or it's round, and then it's just flat when the water is off. Really like the drip tape because it puts water right where you need it, so you're not encouraging weed growth. And I got to show you the archway. We had it closed off for a while, and the alyssum that Sarah had planted some time ago is really taken off, and it self-propagates. That's pretty neat. All right, let me continue on with the tour. In here we have all kinds of winter squash that are coming up. It was an inadvertent planting. In the kitchen compost, Sarah had placed all the, I don't know, when you scrape out the winter squash, the seeds and the husks and all that into the compost pile. And then I didn't even think about that. I just put the compost out here. And then a week or two later, I don't know, a few hundred winter squash were sprouting. Really should be transplanted and thinned, but we're just gonna see what happens. It's in the bad section, although it's kind of yellow, so I think it's kind of struggling now, whereas the stuff on the good section is doing better. It was planted, as part of, was in the compost, so it does have some nutrients going for it. Okay, up here is going to be the chicken pasture from right where we're standing here on up to that far corner. We got this chicken coop from someone in Escondido for $200. And got it carted over here with the help of some friends, and I'm preparing on the hillside a place for it. This won't be its final place. I'll show you in a bit. And we'll have a fence that runs out this way and a fence that runs up this way, and this will be the home for the chickens. These are mallow trees. They're native, and we transplanted them here. Way in the corner over there is the first mallow tree that came up 2 years ago, and then from its seedlings, that mallow tree and another one, you can't quite see it, it's behind the what we call the Bushaltestelle, the bus stop. They all came from that one mallow tree, and we transplanted these here to give the chickens some coverage. Here's some clover that reseeded itself, and then we transplanted it. That was from last year's cover crop too. So here's the hillside where I'm going to put the chicken coop. I got it all marked out here, and I'm digging some holes so that those posts will go down into the holes, and then it'll all be level. I think that'll be good use of the hillside. Good place to put the coop. And then I planted a lot of pasture grass for the chickens, and you probably heard in yesterday's video that we're planning on getting some kune pigs. They're a New Zealand breed. They're really popular among the homesteaders now because they eat grass. So here I planted a whole bunch of pasture grass. It's got 5 different types in it. It's got annual rye, perennial rye, which I had never heard of before. I think it's got some fescue, has some orchard grass and one other type that I can't recall. So this will be their pasture. There are those mallow trees I was telling you about. And there's a whole mess of sunflowers coming up. And those are from the sunflowers we planted last summer, and I just let the heads fall to the ground, and that's where all the seeds have popped up. I've been working this last week. Well, I had a week off from work, so I wasn't working in that regard, and did a mix of just relaxing but also working on the field. I made these garden gates, and then been working on putting in the posts yesterday and the day before. And this will be the pen where the pigs are, and this will be the gate that we use to let them out into the pasture. So in here will just be their normal pen. Probably be a week after we get them, all this grass will probably be eaten. Here's that original, here's the original mallow tree, and this just came up 2 years ago, and this thing was reseeding like crazy. The mallow trees that we saw in the chicken pasture, and again here, those 2 mallow trees all came from it, and these just popped up starting in May. So from May of last year till now, they've grown this much. And we had there were 3 others in there too as well that we gave to someone that we met on Facebook, in a Facebook group, because they were looking for natives for their backyard. So another gate will go here, right here. So then in here I'll keep the feed. It'll be alfalfa pellets. These kune pigs just eat grass and alfalfa. They don't eat grain. Well, they're not meant to eat grain. And so yeah, all this area here will be for the kune pigs. Got a load of wood chips this last week from a tree trimmer across the street who was doing some trimming. I went and talked to him, and he dumped this chips on our side yard for us, and I put these all in here. They have a cardboard below them. You can, if you type in NoTill on YouTube or Google, you'll get this a lot of videos about this technique, putting down cardboard and then putting a layer of either compost or wood chips on top of it. Wood chips for your garden path. The cardboard suppresses the weeds. Wood chips add a lot of carbon to your area. So the same technique here, wood chips, and then below this is some cardboard. That's the garden path. But then here's the compost, and it has that I put down. So this other no-till technique is compost, and then there's a layer of cardboard below this too as well. So I just put this down like 2 weeks ago. We have a whole mountain of compost that we got from a local soil supplier. I think they work alongside a dairy, so they take the manure from the dairy and other products and create really great compost. And then out there too, you can see the wood chips that we got from the tree trimmer. So a 50-foot row here. It's 30 inches wide. That's pretty much what the market gardener people have settled on. And then an 18-inch row, or excuse me, 18-inch aisle, 30-inch row, 4-foot wide bed. So I created these 4-foot wide terraces around Christmas time and in January, so I could catch the rainwater, won't have erosion, and then the nice benefit is I could create these beds too as well. And this area is kind of what it looked like before. And I do plan on terracing this area. Let me show you this while we're at it. This is just a head of lettuce. Well, it looks like it's in the broccoli family because it's got some broccoli looking things that are flowering. And that just came up of its own from some lettuce that we let go to seed last year. All right, cool. Now I got to show you the orchard. I never show you guys the orchard. This is a wonderful tangelo tree. It's, oh man, it's like it's so tasty, so sweet, so tart. My nephew Zachary tasted it and he just loved it. So he took a bunch with him when he went back to Chandler with his wife, and then when he was there, he bought even more tangelos, started making all kinds of juice. Here's the swale, and these are some wonderful poppies that Sarah planted. They are really popping. So here's the swale that catches the rainwater. And Jeff, yeah, I think you said, man, the trees are gonna love the deep watering. And I think this tangelo really liked it. Created all kinds of fruit. This tree is a strawberry guava. It's kind of a tropical fruit. It's an odd shape right now because its branches were pretty brittle, and a lot of them broke off under the fruit last year. You can see some of the red fruit up there. I don't know if you can make it out. And then this is our favorite tree right here. This is a reed avocado. Pretty sizable avocados, really smooth. This is a pineapple guava tree with no blossoms right now, but it gets these white blossoms that you can actually eat. They're not just edible, they're tasty. All right, right back here, we've dug a hole that we're gonna put 2 other avocados. We're gonna plant them side by side, a Haas and a, what is it? Brinks? It's not quite the name. It's another type of avocado. I can't remember the name though right now. And Sarah's grand vision is between these 3 avocado trees, we'll have avocados, ripe avocados, 11 months out of the year. There's another compost pit right there. And right here, this tree with no leaves on it, currently, is a persimmon tree. Oh, we just love it. It's so sweet. And we make dried persimmons from it called hashigaki, the dried persimmons. And that's a Japanese delicacy. We really like it. It's like dried fruit, but it's really sweet. Here's a fig tree. And Sarah really likes the figs and uses them a lot to sweeten her cereal in the morning. Grapefruit tree. May, these guys will be ready. June. Over here is a mandarin tree, and it's past ripeness. We really enjoyed a lot of those this year. And then here's a pomegranate tree that we planted. I think it was in just a 5-gallon container. Planted it about a year ago. On the far side there, you can see some blossoms. That's actually a blackberry vine that's growing in a caracara orange tree. This is a Persian lemon tree. All the vitamin C of a lemon, none of the bitterness. It's just kind of refreshing, makes a really refreshing juice. And here we have a Valencia orange tree that just went into blossom. And here's the chicken coop, mobile chicken coop that I'm moving through the pasture right now. And we have our 2 Australorp, or 2 of our 3 Australorps. And then, probably hard to see in the shade. And then one of our Easter eggers. Australorps are really friendly. They're big chickens. They'll do dual purpose, meat or eggs. They're really friendly and they're doing well for us. We got them last May and we raised them, from about yay big. And right now in the box, now this is exciting. We have our 2, or in the coop I should say, 2 leg bars. I have them enclosed because the leg bar on the left, it's old enough to lay but hasn't been laying. So I wanted to keep the big chickens, the big hens, out of the coop and give her a chance to roost, to have some privacy there in the box. And then here we have a small lemon tree. We just planted this 1.5 years ago too. Sarah really likes lemons. It has 2 lemons on it. We might actually get another lemon tree just to keep her in lemons. And we bought a couple of trees on Friday. One of them's going to go here, a burgundy plum, and another is going to go. I got the hole covered up, I think. Oh yeah. Another's going to go here, and that's going to be a peach, a red baron peach. Has beautiful red blossoms on it. All right, well, there you go. You're very well informed now on what's going on here in our field and our orchard. All right, we'll catch you later. Bye.